the only thing you own in this life is consciousness. Wrap your head around that. If you say you own your car, well, if you're standing 3 feet away from your car is in front of you. It's not part of you. So what does own mean? Well, it means that you have stewardship over your car, and that's true enough. But as far as being a part of you, if somebody else drives away in your car and it doesn't come back, well, I guess you don't own your car. You own your house until it burns down, then you don't own that. And on, you see my point. Well, how is this helpful? Well, life being pure energy is a mirror. And people generally want to change the circumstances of their life by pulling on the outside of themselves inwards. And that's not the way that change happens. The true personal inner power of life comes from controlling your consciousness from the inside. Science really doesn't know what consciousness is, but for our purposes, it's not important. You and I both know that your consciousness is what we're with 24/7, morning till night, birth till death, unless you believe in reincarnation, which I do. Consciousness is really the only game in town. It's really the only thing that you can say that you own. As a matter of fact, you're stuck with it. If you're alive, if you're awake, if you're playing the game, consciousness is what you're working with. And in this crazy day and age, all days and age are crazy, but now, I personally believe that most people are walking around in emotional pain most of the time. And emotional pain generally comes from a resistance to how things are in your life. That's where the pain comes from. It's a non-acceptance of the way things are in your life. Now, I totally get it if you want to change your circumstances. I believe we all want more for ourselves, in a good way. More to give to others, our families, all of that. But as a starting point, you need to accept where you're at. Not because you need to do anything, but it's emotionally painful not to do it. So through acceptance, and then through dictating your own consciousness. And what I mean by that is the outer world you don't control. The inner world, and wrap your head around this, the inner world you absolutely control, whether you think so currently or not. Such and such made me feel this way is not a thing. Such and such did something, and then consciously or unconsciously, you chose to feel a way about it. It's all decisions from the inside of consciousness. And you have control over those decisions. I would venture to say that most people, even in a quiet room, are too scared to sit there and think thoughts like, I am the master of my reality. I am the king of my internal world, or the queen. I can have anything. I can do anything. And I think a large part of what happens is there's the separated ego which sits on the windowsill of your consciousness, right? You have the picture of your world, but then there's a little person on the windowsill putting in their 2 cents. It wouldn't be a game without an adversary. Now, the ego, make no mistake, is part of you. It's part of me. The ego allows you to navigate in this world. It allows you to even have the beginning of a judgment about a thing, to have an opinion. The ego is not bad. Ego death, the ego is a part of you. Accept it, love it, like it's healthy to love any other thing about yourself. The ego might be just sitting there like somebody else sitting there on the couch, saying something that you don't agree with. This imaginary little voice goes, "You suck." Well, if somebody over there on the couch said, "You suck," you don't have to agree with them, so you don't have to agree with your ego. You have total power over your inner dominion. You control your consciousness from the inside out. And once you have control over your consciousness, it allows you to feel more in control, better. So if you feel better, you make better decisions. If you make better decisions and more passionate decisions and more fulfilling decisions, then that leads to a sense of happiness. And happiness is what pushes on the energetic mirror of our life. Enjoy your consciousness.